Okay, let's keep going. Our next question says a variant of fiscal budgeting whereby a 12-month projection into the future is maintained at all times is termed what? Well, if we look here, we have flexible budgeting, which is a series of static budgets, okay? But it is not, there is no 12-month projection that is maintained with flexible budgeting per se. However, that is the case with continuous budgeting. So with continuous budgeting, again, as 1 month passes, say for example we are in the month of March, at the end of March, March drops off, and we start over. Our first month would become April. Therefore, choice B, continuous budgeting, is the correct answer. Next question. The process of developing budget estimates by requiring all levels of management to estimate sales, production, and other operating data as though operations were being initiated for the very first time is referred to as this is the, if you recall, if you've seen the PowerPoint video, this is not something that happens very often here. This is somewhat rare. This occurs when situations have changed drastically and existing historical data is of very, very little use. It is not flexible budgeting. It is not continuous budgeting. We call this zero-based budgeting because we don't have really anything to base our budgeting process on except for our best estimates of what we think are going to happen given a completely new set of circumstances. Okay, looks like one more multiple choice question. It says the primary difference between a static budget and a flexible budget is that let's see here. Is that a static budget, let's see here, is suitable in a volatile demand situation where a flexible budget is suitable in a stable demand situation? Well, choice A is the exact opposite of what is reality. So that is an incorrect answer. Choice B is concerned only with future acquisitions of fixed assets, whereas a flexible budget is concerned with expenses that vary with sales. This choice B is basically just a completely made up answer. It doesn't make much sense at all. It has nothing to do with either of those types of budgets. Choice C includes a fixed cost, where a flexible budget includes only variable costs. Both static budgets and flexible budgets include fixed cost and variable cost, so that is going to be wrong. Choice D must be our correct answer. It says is a plan for a single level of production, whereas a flexible budget can be converted to any level of production, and that is a true statement. All right. So again, answer D. Okay. Here, at the beginning of the period, the Assembly Department budgeted direct labor of $110,000, direct materials of $170,000, and fixed factory overhead of $28,000. Okay. For 8,000 hours of production, the department actually completed 10,000 hours of production. What is the total budget? What is the appropriate total budget for the department, assuming it uses flexible budgeting? Okay, so we're going to make the assumption here that at both 8,000 hours of production and at 10,000 hours of production, we are within the same appropriate relevant range. And so what we need to do here is we need to determine our fixed cost and our variable cost. We're actually going to start here with variable costs, and then let's go over here with fixed costs. All right. So direct labor is a variable cost, and it is $110,000 based on our initial estimate of 8,000 hours of production. And let's see, direct materials we have at $170,000. Okay. And then fixed factory overhead is $28,000. Okay. So we had 8,000 hours planned, but we actually completed 10,000 hours of production. Okay? So, if we think about this, what we have here is 10,000 hours of actual production. Initial schedule was for 8,000 hours of production. If we were to convert this into a percentage, we would come up with 125%. In other words, our actual production is 125% of our planned production of 8,000 hours. If you don't believe me, we know that 8,000 is 100% of 8,000, and then we can also take the difference between these two numbers, and we would come up with 0.25, so 125%. I don't expect you to do all of this when you show your work on an exam, but 125% needs to be added to our variable cost. So I'm going to add these two figures here: $110,000 for direct labor, $170,000 for direct materials, and that comes to $280,000. If we multiply that by 1.25, okay, if we multiply that by 1.25, we're going to come up with $350,000. So as our production increases by 25%, our variable costs also increase by 25%. So our variable cost aspect is $350,000. Fixed costs are fixed. We don't have to do anything to fix cost. Now all we have to do is add these two numbers, 378,000, and that is our answer. We're going to stop the video now and come back and do the last two questions.